One of the favorites, CB, Chris Broussard. But Marcellus, what's your concern level for LeBron headed to the playoffs?
Oh, it's high. Styles P high. High. You remember that? High. Look, LeBron's missing too many damn games on the team that is missing LeBron James. And even with LeBron James on the team, on the roster, healthy, look at these statistics. Is this the team that you think is going to go out there and win back-to-back? Then when they're 28th in the NBA in turnovers, 25th in the NBA in three-pointers, and this is a three-point league, and 23rd in points per game. Like, you even factor in LeBron James. You look at the fact that they've lost 8 of their last 13 games, 5 of their last 6 road games. I don't see this team hitting the ground running. AD is really, really hurt. Had a couple Laker fans I talked to, text, DM with, and they're like, yo, we scared because of AD's injury. But LeBron, I think LeBron is going to be okay. I believe in the machine of LeBron James. But the problem is, when he returns, what is he returning to? So, as a collective, this is a team that's going to have to figure it out and find their way in the play-in game because Lord knows they don't want to see the Clippers in the first round because the Clippers are going to be well-oiled and healthy in that moment. So, it's a lot of things to be concerned about. Hopefully LeBron can help, but I don't know how much with this roster.
Yeah, you got to be concerned, and I think anybody would be lying otherwise. Am I concerned that LeBron's one of the best players in the world? No. Am I concerned that LeBron is one of the most physically gifted players to ever touch a court? No. Am I concerned that LeBron James is one of the wisest players to ever dribble a basketball? No. But I'm also very conscious and cognizant of the human anatomy. I'm also very conscious and cognizant of the fact that LeBron James is 36 years old. I'm very conscious and cognizant of the fact that LeBron has missed 26 out of the last 28 games. We can all say it's no big deal. But let's not look at LeBron James for a second. Let's look a little bigger picture, because think about the 4 NBA teams that were in the conference finals last year. You got the Lakers, you got the Celtics, you got the Nuggets, you got the Heat. Think about how they're all faring this year. The Lakers from a 1 seed to a 7 seed. Celtics from a 3 seed to a 7 seed. The Nuggets from a 3 seed to a 4 seed. CB, literally every team has collectively gotten worse. You telling me the 4 best teams from last year, and as I look at it, the Nuggets are the highest seed as a 4? It's not a coincidence that all these teams are struggling because there is still the residual effect from the bubble. So it's not that I'm exclusively concerned about LeBron James, although I obviously am concerned about LeBron James, but common sense and the stats show that, wait a second, everybody that was in the bubble late last year is having issues. And look no further, CB, one of these stats blows my mind. Since 1983-1984, when there was a 16-team format in the playoffs, this is the worst drop-off from teams that were in the conference finals last year to the same 4 teams the following year. So this ain't just Acho talking out his behind. Statistically speaking, all 4 teams are struggling. So, of course, the leader of the best team would be struggling as well.
I hear you guys. I mean, it's foolish to sit up here and say there's no concern because, as you said, Acho, he's 36. And the last time he came back from a sustained injury, remember 2 years ago, LeBron thought he was ready. So all that, like people that are taking, their consolation in LeBron saying the other night, hey, the road to back-to-back starts now. Remember 2 years ago, he said, I'm activating playoff mode, all right? And they went out and went 8-13 in the games he played. So the question is, at this advanced age, can LeBron step back in and take off where he left off? And maybe at 36, you need more time, right, to get going. You may need 2, 3, 4 weeks before you can get back to your midseason form. So that is indeed a concern. There's no question about it. Secondly, guys, it's the way LeBron plays, which is obviously awesome, but his style. Like, you look at the guys in Brooklyn. We saw James Harden, right, come back after missing, a month almost, and he was fine. 18.7 rebounds, 11 assists, and the team, he fit in seamlessly. Kevin Durant, same thing. Why? Because they can shoot. They're some of the best shooters we've ever seen, and also throwing Kyrie. So it's easier to fit in when you can catch and shoot. Well, LeBron doesn't catch and shoot. LeBron comes in and everything changes because he handles the ball a lot. He has his spots on the floor. Everyone's role changes with LeBron. So that's something that the Lakers are going to have to get used to again on the fly. Andre Drummond. LeBron's rarely played with a big guy that likes to be on the low post. And if you look at the numbers, it's a small sample size, admittedly. But his numbers right now with Andre Drummond, Drummond is the only Lakers player on the team who has a negative net rating when he's playing with LeBron. It's -3. No one else on the team is even below +6 with LeBron. So that's going to have to be worked out. How does LeBron play with AD or Drummond on the floor? And do they have to get Marcellus in there more to open the space in the middle up for LeBron? So there's concerns, and I'm going to pass it on back to you guys, but I do have one more thing I want to throw out when it rallies back around to me.
It's not adding up, CB. It's not adding up. Now, they can figure it out, but on the calculator right now, it's not adding up. You talked about LeBron's game, and I love the fact that you brought that up because LeBron's game is a commitment to physicality. That means you're going to have to get physical. But when you're physically ailing, and every step you take, every move you make, it may be something that can stop you in this season, as it has so many times with LeBron this year. What are you going to do in terms of that commitment to your game, to that physicality? It's just going to be interesting. It's not adding up, but we'll see if he can figure it out. Also, let's just talk about the impact and effect of LeBron James to this year's team and last year's championship team. Last year, the Lakers, 746 win percentage with LeBron James. This year, 651. All these little things add up to a big thing when you look at them in totality. Below 500 against teams above 500 this year. 2-7 versus the top 3 seeds in the West. Please, 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 please. I mean, the Clipper fan in me says, come on, Lakers, let's go. But please, if you're a Laker fan, do not wish that this team has to see the Clippers or any team that they're not capable of beating day one. The Warriors, good luck against them in the play-in game series, but this is a team that is just not playing up to their standard. And as you pointed out, Chris, they're still trying to figure out their personnel matchups and lineups to go out there. With injuries, it seems like it's a daunting task.
Here's the silver lining. Obviously, a big silver lining is he's LeBron James, all right? And we've written him off before.
Hello.
And playoff LeBron is a different animal. So there's that, okay? The other thing is you can kind of do away with some of these numbers you guys are throwing out because Anthony Davis has played like 34, 35 games. He's missed half the seasons. So a lot of those games where they faced the top teams, AD wasn't there or LeBron wasn't there or both weren't there. All right, so I'm not putting too much stock in all these numbers. And here's the final thing for Lakers fans to feel good about. Who's scaring you in the West?
That's the kicker.
Clippers.
I mean, really, is Utah scaring anybody? And they got injuries themselves. Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley, their starting backcourt, are both going to be coming off of injuries when the playoffs start. Is Phoenix really scaring anybody? I am saying right here on national television, if LeBron James plays every game against Phoenix, there is no way the Suns beat the Lakers. You know, LeBron and AD. Because I'm sorry, Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton are not stepping into their first ever playoff experience and beating LeBron. There's no way. And then your Clippers, look, I do think the Clippers are the one team in the West capable of beating the Lakers, even if LeBron and AD are there. I would pick the Lakers probably, but the Clippers are legit. But Marcellus, you notice that your boys, they got problems at the end of games. Now, Rondo helps somewhat, but they go awry at the end of games and kind of degenerate a lot of times into ISO with Kawhi or Paul George. And is it playoff P or is it going to be way off P? All right, which one's it going to be? All right, so I'm just saying, like, there's no world beater out West. That's the one thing that gives Lakers fans hope is who's great out there.
Bruh, don't let this suit fool you, homie. Do you talk about my squad like that again? Way off P. Put that in the book. That is a bar right there.
That's the first time you used that joint?
Man, what the hell?
No, I think that's Nick Wright. I'm stealing it from somebody.
Steal the mess out of it. Claim his shirt.
All I want to respond with, not the violence that I'm feeling right now, but We swept these boys this year, 3-0, you know, doing our civic duty in L.A., cleaning up the streets.
How many games AD played, Marcellus? How many
games is AD
play?
going to play is the conversation. AD is really hurt. In case y'all don't know, tendinosis is a thing, and it's affecting the grow in, and it's going to continue to grow.
I'm not listening to Dr. Sell no more. I ain't listening to Dr. Wiley.
Average margin of victory, 16 points against these dudes. Bring AD back. We still going to smoke them. We're the #1 shooting team in the NBA from the three-point line. We'll continue to do that. Boy, that was a bar, though.